So welcome back to Live Scribbles with Jonathan, everybody. My name is Jonathan Rector. You can check out my website and my work at jonathanrector.com. And if you guys are watching this video from YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, all those cool things, like usual, just feel free to let me know. And so tonight what we're going to do is basically what we always do. Draw some comics. And the show is always for you guys and girls out there. So for everybody that's in the chat, if you guys have a question or something regarding art that you'd like some help with, by all means, feel free to let me know, and I'll see if I can tackle it for you. And until then, we're just going to be working on some pages, and we're going to be working on the standard, what we normally work on here. And we'll get to that. But before I jump into that, just really quick, I just wanted to talk about kind of why the show's been on a little bit of a hiatus and where it's going from here. As you'll notice, the last few episodes, I had my good buddy Eric on, and he's not here tonight. And there's a reason for that. There's no inner turmoil or any kind of drama or anything like that. It's comics. Keep the drama out of it, right? But so what's been going on is I've just been, like most of you guys out there, just absolutely busy. And I just have not had the time to do the streams properly, and there's a lot of things that get into that. Maybe we'll talk about that some other time. However, what I'm planning on doing anyway with the show, or at least giving it a shot with this, is I was listening to another podcast, and what they were quickly talking about was making content for people. And it wasn't just making content for yourself or for viewers, but making it so that it's manageable in some way. And what the one person was talking about was thinking about releasing content in the vein of a TV show. So what he said kind of tickled my fancy. And to give you the Cliff Notes version of what he had said, basically think of it like, again, like a TV show with seasons, right? This is nothing new. Lots of people do this. Lots of people do this with webcomics especially. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just continue to do this stream right now as we're going. I will let you guys know once I start to finalize things. But for now, the stream will be every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'll probably keep it in that rhythm for now. But within a month's time, what I plan on doing is having season 1 of the show. And what that would include would be possibly guests. Again, having people like Eric come in every now and then. I don't know if I'll have him in on every show. We'll just see how it goes. Maybe try to incorporate some of you guys out there as well. So we can kind of maybe do some critiques with you guys, or just, it's fun to just talk to other people as well. But it does a second thing too, which is really awesome, is let's say for the first season, I say we're going to do 10 episodes. What it lets me do is it lets me structure it in a way where I can actually start to, not just record what I'm drawing, because I know this is fun and a lot of you guys and girls out there get some really cool stuff from it, which is awesome. I'm glad that you guys get anything out of it, which is great. But what it also lets me do is kind of steer it more in a direction where I would like all the YouTube videos and all that other stuff going. So I realize I'm rambling. It's not really why we're here, but I just want to let you guys know what's going on with that. And like I had said really quickly, what I wanted to touch on is what that lets me do is, again, work in a certain direction for the show, but at the same time, I get a chance to take a break. What's that about, right? So let's say, again, for 10 episodes, maybe it might be a month before season 2 kicks in, or it could be 6 months before season 2. Hopefully it won't be that long. But you guys understand what I'm trying to say there. It just gives me a chance to set a goal, finish that goal, and then go from there to see what needs to be fixed and changed, as opposed to right now where it's just kind of it started out as a lot of this stuff normally starts out, is just for fun. I'm drawing, may as well click record, and then may as well click stream for you guys out there as well. But I would like to, take it to another level where we're still doing that, but get it a little bit more focused, And maybe what I'm thinking is, again, I'm just throwing this out there at you guys, is I'm going to have the season stuff, but then I was thinking doing maybe on a Saturday or a Sunday, just kind of doing the normal stuff like we're doing right now. So it's kind of like a little more relaxed environment. But yes, John, you'll definitely get an invite. And, oh man. I had some salt and vinegar chips, and I don't know about you guys, but, man, your tongue gets all salt fest. Oh, can you guys hear me, or is the sound dead? Okay, so you guys can hear me. I didn't know if I had hit the mute button or not on you. Okay, so we're good. Salt and vinegar. Yeah, I know. Mistakes were made for sure. So again, if you guys have any comments or questions, go ahead and throw them at me. We'll get there. Until then, we're going to be working on another page of the standard. And real quick, what's happening here a little bit of inside baseball for you guys, is we have our main character, the standard, right here. Well, let me get black here so you guys can see it. And him and this chap right here, his name's the Corpse. It's kind of like Batman, more like the Punisher. And so what they're doing is they're investigating what's going on. People are murdered. People are dying. What's going on, right? So we're having a little flashback here of the Corpse, how he got his information. He dangled somebody. Let me just turn this off. He dangled somebody over a building. This is actually a really fun panel to draw. I could show you guys some of the layers in there as well. And, you know, some more close-up stuff. And he has a list. And he's going to check it twice and show the standard here. And this was really fun to do, too. Got, like, the really cool, like, brush effect with one of Manga Studios' really cool brushes. And then I just finished this. Most of you guys on Facebook probably saw this. And I just posted this a little bit earlier today. So, just finished this panel here on the left. Just trying to find, like, I know this panel here is going to be, I don't want to say a bitch, but require a little bit more brain power than what's needed. So, maybe we'll just start with this one and we'll kind of work backwards on this page. Lilac is asking, okay, I brought this question up a few weeks ago. What are your thoughts about making a pattern brush to do your feathering and rendering? Have you tried it? If not, does it sound interesting? Actually, it's a really cool question. I have tried it in Photoshop, not in Manga Studio. And I didn't really care for the look that it gave like my art anyway. If you like the way it's working for you, by all means, you know. I'm a big believer of just doing what you like, right? So if it makes your art look better to you, yeah, I'd experiment it a little bit. Otherwise, I don't know. The reason why I didn't really dig it was I felt like I lost the freedom to, you know, when you render, you don't always have to go like this, right? Like your lines don't always have to be as perfect as you can make them. Sometimes what makes rendering really cool is, you know, staggering it up a bit. It gives you a little bit more, you know, I don't know, some difference, you know, whenever you want to have something be a little different, gives you that option, which is, you know, good to have. Now, I have trolled a little bit around on DeviantArt, and I've seen some people doing some really cool things in Manga Studio with their brushes. And I've used some of the brushes that came with Manga Studio when I was working on the Hero Code. There was this one scene where there's a lot of cables, you know, it was kind of like you'd have your mastermind sitting in some chair surrounded by tech, right? And you'd have all these wires and cables around them. And I was just, you know, just messing around looking through the brush settings and stuff that they had. And I saw that was cables, and it was really awesome. And it was one of those things where it was like, as you draw, it overlaps shape. And I've showed you guys this before. Actually, look here. I'll just bring it up so you can see it here. It's not here. I think it's under pattern brush. Yeah. So let me just click that pattern brush. And it wasn't sparkles. I think it's called like tubes or something like that. Let me just see what we got. Not cross-hatching. Getting there. Telephone cord. That's it. So as you'll see, like normally when you draw, you know, you'll have this. Oh, let me bring that down. You'll have like this shape going on here, right? Which is really cool. It's doing this like wraparound effect, which is actually really, really sweet. But if you start going like left and right, if you notice, it's actually curving, which is, I don't know, to me that's ridiculous to be able to do something like that. Like imagine doing chains and stuff, anything, right? That's just awesome. But then the next part gets even better. You can overlap it. You can start doing circles like this. Like what is going on? You know, it gets a little messy, but I'm just telling you right now, like, or right now, that kind of stuff, even if you just, like, you saw how quick I just did that, right? And then you, like, lower the opacity and maybe redraw over top of it if you want, or just add a little bit of effects to make it look a little bit more, I don't know, hand-drawn, if you want to call it that. Still think that's one of the big strengths that Manga Studio has. For sure. And I'm sure, and I know Photoshop's got something very similar. Photoshop's like the program, right? So we're just working on some of the wrinkles here in the corpse's clothing. And there's something else I wanted to just kind of bring up with you guys and girls. And I will say too, I didn't say at the top, but the people that are watching the YouTube recording, feel free to leave comments in the section below. I do go back and I do read the comments. So if there's something you wanted to address about the show or something, or if I had like something wrong or something, it's always cool to go back there and see what mistake I had or if I wasn't clear on something. But what I wanted to talk about was organization. Oh God, we're going to start talking about that now. And not organization in a way where it's like, okay, I'm going to order my layers and stuff like that. I'm talking about like, how do I want to word this? Professional organization or small business? I don't know. I'm sure some of you guys have heard of this thing called like getting things done, maybe. I forget the cat's name that wrote that, but I had an app that I talked about last year that I bought for my iPod. And you can, the whole idea of this method is like, you write down any idea that ever pops in your head or projects you'd like to do or appointments, whatever, on like a piece of paper or put it into like a little notepad or something. And then at the end of your day or the start of your day or throughout your day, you kind of go through it and you start to put these things into folders. And the whole reason behind it is, you'll never forget things, which is great. Providing you keep good records. But the other thing is that it frees your mind to start thinking about other things. If there's nothing for your brain to think about, you'll start to think about something, right? Have you ever just been like in the shower? That's where I get my ideas, a lot of them anyway. You just be, in the shower and bang, something happens like, oh, that's such a sweet story idea. Or you're using the washroom. I don't know why. It's something about bathrooms and ideas. It's just crazy, but something's not clicking or something's not right. And you just, for some reason, you're somewhere in life, and all of a sudden the answer comes to you like, oh, what if I add a couple lines here? It'll make it look better. Oh, what if I take a couple lines away from here? Maybe it'll look a little bit more, simpler or whatever you're trying to get. So the reason I was bringing that up is I'm trying to find a way to basically just get more organized. And I don't think I'm a cluttered person, but the idea of being able to tackle more things more efficiently, get things done faster, and focus on what's important at the time. Have certain goals in the background going on, so once something's happening, other things are moving. What's really cool, one of the things that somebody on YouTube was talking about for this workflow that people are working with is that what it forces you to do is, especially for big projects, let's say like this sucker here, the standard, I mean, this is a lot of work. Any comic book project that any of you guys or girls out there do, that's a lot of work. And so what it does is it forces you to not just think about it like, okay, I'm going to always use this as an example here, the page we're working on, but not to go, okay, I need to draw issue 4 of the standard, and that's your project. That's your goal. That's not your project. Your project is, no, what else do you have to do in it? So in this case, I have to thumbnail, I have to research, I have to pencil, ink, all these sorts of things. So what you do is you break the projects down into literally those bite-sized chunks, and what you do is you start to schedule your life or days around these individual projects, so that what it does is over time it's building momentum for that goal to be achieved. And this could be anything. It could be like learning a new language. Everybody always uses that. We all want to learn a new language apparently, but I don't know. I'm just getting really into this stuff. I think it's really cool. If it does work, it's So I stopped off at the at Staples on my way home, and I bought a little folder. Got all that. So when I'm done this, what I'm going to do is, one of the things they talk about is, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of one of these things. I thought it was kind of funny. A tickler folder? Is that a tickle file? Tickler folder. Tickle file, that's it. And it still sounds messed up. I don't think that's it. But anyway, essentially what it is you grab like a folder, a bunch of folders, and you number them. Number 1 to 31, which represents every day of the month. And then you grab 12 more folders, and then you start putting like January to December. And what you're doing is, whenever you have like an appointment or an idea or something that you'd like to get done, you just throw it in there in the respective day. And it always, you know what I mean? It's always doing its thing. I don't want to get too much into it. I would just kind of throw it out there to see if any of you guys or girls out there have actually played around with that, what your experiences were with it. And if not just that one, but do you guys do stuff like that? Do you have, I know a lot of people just use a simple calendar, maybe have like a to-do list or something. But like, how do you guys manage not just your workflow and your projects and things that you want to get done outside of art and all that, but like, I don't know. I'm really into all this, like, I don't want to say organizing and stuff, but just like if there's shortcuts to keep your life organized in a positive way so that you can do more. I don't know. It just sounds really cool to me. And sorry, what were you saying there, Inkbot? My position is this. If I'm out or whatever and an idea pops into my head, if I don't remember it when I get home, it wasn't a good enough idea to remember. But that's just me, he says. And, I'm very much like that. Usually I'm surrounded by something that I could just draw on if I needed to. But, yeah, I don't know, like, just kind of working like this, I don't know. I dig it. It just feels like freeing in a way. Like you're leaving your brain to just continually think of brand new ideas, or whenever you call upon it, it's never gonna find the right answer. But like when you least want it to, all of a sudden, like the idea pops in your head, and you're like, oh, that's it. Or sometimes it's just seeing something or hearing somebody say something, you know. And it's not just that too. Like this whole thing goes down into, let's say, for example, I'm working on this. Any email that I get, any Facebook update I get, anything like that, usually I turn the notifications off on my computer. So if I take like 5 minutes to look at my inbox just to make sure, like if John's getting a hold of me or somebody like that, or any other client that I have, I can just quickly look at it and go, okay, I need to do this eventually, right? So I can't do it now because I'm preoccupied. I'm doing the standard. I'm doing comic pages. So I'll just make a little note, check email. You know what I'm saying? And then what you do is you have like a little bin beside you or close enough that you don't really have to move. The idea is to just sit and work, but have these tools around you. So I'll have like a stack of these little notes or something, and then you throw it into this bin, which is what you would call your inbox. And from there, you just kind of, once you're done your work, so when I'm done this page, I'll go through my inbox. I'll start going through them. Oh, I need to do this right away. I need to do this. And the whole idea is just to keep you focused on what you're doing. You can worry about what you're going to do next, what's happening next. What can you do to make a project you're doing better and all. You've got time to do that. And what you're doing is you're just disciplining yourself a little bit to go in there. But again, I'm just theory crafting right now. I'll let you guys know. I would actually ask you guys. It's the 18th right now. So if you can ask me, what is it? April, May. If you guys can ask me in May 18th, 20th, if I'm still doing it, let me know. I'll let you guys know. And I'll probably do a video for it for those of you if I'm, I like the idea. I hope I'm relaying that to you guys enough anyway. Okay, I think we got enough wrinkles going on here, enough triangle shapes. Let's go to the standard. We'll throw some rendering on there. Let me just scroll up there because you guys are leaving some comments. Whoops. Bam saying he likes to use a calendar, but even with that, he always waits till the last minute. Yep, been there. Enigma, doing really good. How are you? And John saying, I think something as simple as writing down in a list the stuff you need to do, then crossing off, deleting the stuff as you do it. It'd be a clear visual motivator. Yep, I've tried that too. It doesn't really work for me myself, but I definitely know a few people that do use that, and it works for them for sure. Michael saying he needs an adrenaline rush if he of a failed deadline. And Enigma is agreeing with John. Usually does that. Bendamage. I'm still trying to... Well, I don't know why that's bleeping it out. I'm assuming wrap or what? Anyway, still trying to something around the rendering you were teaching with the Wolvie you did. Just got done with your rendering Wolverine. Still have trouble. Okay, we can kind of talk about it if you like. What was it, if you can put it in words anyway, that was just confusing you? If you can just give me a little clarification there, then hopefully we can narrow it down. Oh, and I wanted to show this too real quick. I almost forgot. In that last video I had posted on YouTube, it was of Thanos, and I thought it turned out really cool. I had a lot of fun with that, and I was talking about that new workflow that I'm doing because at work I'm always staring at computers, you know, just crap. And coming home to work on digital work, it's very draining, and I'm starting to loathe the whole digital thing. I love the way it looks. I love working like this. I would never change that, but sitting down and doing the work, you do what you have to do, but I know I can work harder. So I'm trying to find ways to keep working without, you know, just not working because you're bummed out, or not bummed out. Bummed out's it's a pretty stupid way of saying it, but just demotivated, I guess. Okay, so what I've been doing is just printing out like light roughs or thumbnails here. I'll just actually show you guys. Let me just turn all this off here. Let me turn the pen roller off here, and I'll turn that off. So opacity's pretty low on these. I apologize. Actually, here, let me just turn these to black. We're not going to need them anymore. But so this was the thumbnail that I had sent John originally, and our editor Stephen Forbes. So you know, I'll send something like this. I know it's probably a little hard to see on the screen and stuff like that, but oh, there we go. Mega Studio dying on me. So yeah, it's like really loose, you know, real chunky. There's nothing special to it. And then I would normally just blow it up like any page. You guys have seen me do this a bunch of times. And then I would just start tightening up the shapes, refining it, perspective, and all that stuff in Manga Studio. So what I figured I could do is if I could just print this out here and then go back to old school pencils, literally just lower the opacity on this to about like 70 or 15%. I mean, it's really light. And I mean, I'm doing it on gray. I'm not even getting fancy with like blue ink, none of that crap. Just print it out and then grab the good old fashioned pencils and just pencil over it. I'm still working. You guys see what I'm saying? Like that step is still being done. So work is still being put forward. But let me just turn off all the layers here, so you guys can see. This was the pencils here. So they're kind of tight, you know. They get enough information across that I need. The quick color that I put in there is for shadows or costume designs and stuff like that. So with pencil, I can just focus on the actual anatomy here. See, a lot of this area is pretty much done, but like if you look right here in the corpse's shoulder, tricep area, it's kind of like a blob. I can worry about that later. But, you know, everything's there. All this stuff like that. And this actually, I was finding was much faster. And I don't know if it's because I was working at a different scale. Like when I print this out, it's just a regular 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, right? So when I blow it up, you know, the strokes are smaller and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's a really cool workflow, I guess. And then just drawn over top of it just seems a little, I don't know. Basically, I'm just getting energized again to work like that. So it's got to be a positive, right? It's got to be a good thing. Which panel were we? Oh, we were down here. That's where we were. Sorry. Okay, so let me just go up there. So to make sure I don't want to miss you guys. Okay, so bend image is again with the rendering, just making things look sharp. Are you talking about like the rendering line looking sharp? And Michael's got a question as well. Benimage, I think my hand is not steady. My stuff is a lot more sketchy, I guess. And Michael's asking, when you draw things out on a regular paper, are you consciously thinking about rendering of the finished product? No, I'm just thinking about getting the form. I'm just trying to make it look good. You know, like, is it enough information for me to take and put inks over top of it? You know, I could quickly just grab like a fat pencil crayon like I'm usually using there, not even sharpen it, just keep it nice and dull, and just quickly put like heavy chunks of where the direction of shadows would be, so that like in this case I could just turn this on, you know, and I know the way that I drew this where I kind of have the shadows going. Down here it's kind of blurry, you can't really see it. But yeah, I wouldn't worry about that stuff too much. Just as long as there's enough raw information. Like here, we'll look at this face for example here. Let me turn the inking layer off. I think that's panel 6, rough. So this was what it looked like. Let me just turn this layer behind it off. So that's it right there. So the structure's there, right? The structure, the chunky spot for the eyeballs there, the eyes, the mouth is there. And then just do the tight line art over top of it like that. It's still, everything's right where it should be. I mean, I didn't really change much of anything. Maybe the contour line around the standard, but not much. So let me just turn the rough layer off here. So you can just see the line art. There you go. And I knew where I wanted that shading to be, because I kind of put it on the right. You can't see it too much. But yeah, so you just put the inks on there, and then you render it out like a... Bend Mage. Okay, could I ask you one thing then, just to help me out? If not, maybe I could tell you something really quickly if you can't do this, which is fine. But do you have a piece of artwork scanned or something online that we could look at if you don't feel, too ashamed or anything like that? Just so we can look at it, and then I can see exactly what you're talking about. I can pinpoint it just a little bit better, and hopefully solve your problem for you. If not, I'm about to do some rendering anyway on the standard here, so you'll be able to see it. I'll talk a little bit as I'm doing it. And I will say this as well, that rendering digitally to me is much different than rendering with a pencil, or I guess if you're inking. Just because of the way the pressure sensitivity works, I find, I don't know why. Yeah, you can post it for sure. What's that? On your noses, you have a triangle or point coming out from the base triangle of the nose. Is that the cheek? Are you talking about this drawing or the one that we did before on the sides? Hey, Alec, how's it going, brother? Angled view of Century. Century. It's a standard, not Century. Oh, you're talking about this right here? Yeah, that's his cheek. Yep. Let me just see here, just so you can see where it's going. Maybe get a little confused. Yeah, on that panel. I don't know. Like I don't know how to word it other than how it is. I mean, I could draw it, I guess, real quick, just so you can see like what I'm doing there. Whoops, let me just turn all that off. Like this comes back to basically, your fundamentals there. So we got our eye line here. Whoops. Whatever. And your cheeks kind of come out on an angle like that. Okay? And then this is going to come down into your chin. Now this looks a little weird because all of a sudden we got this whole area over here. But that's because his head is actually tilted up. Okay? So it does round out a bit. I actually shot it out a little bit more to make his chin look bigger. You don't always have to go through everything like that. Oh, don't worry about it. It's all good. It's all good. So, like real quick, what you can do when you're trying to find like the middle of the head, you got that going. So this line that you would normally put down like that, okay, that's normally how most people draw the face and stuff, which is fine. This line, make it stop in the middle. Don't go straight down. And what you're going to do is you see this line right here where the eyes, that eye chunk kind of sinks in a bit. Follow that line just like that. So that line and that line are the same, but it's still following this line here, you see? And then now you can continue that straight. Continue it straight down like that. Okay, let me fix this here. I'm just drawing it just for the sake of drawing it. Hey, Zelda. Okay, so we're going to go down like that. There you go. So we got it in the center of the face. Now what you can do is literally this right here, this like eye chunk, halfway through it, just draw another line that follows the same contour line. And you're going to get like this little triangle shape on there, like that. And this is kind of like where your nose goes in. This takes practice, I know. But yeah, so you just punch it in there like that. And you got your big old fat nostrils. You can get like a nice big round thing on the front of the nose if you want. That's cool. What I usually like to do is I'll like bring this line right here. I just follow it straight, still following the contour of like the plane of the face. And then again, that line right here on the side of the face, just bring it back into this right here. Okay, so what you're left with is, and you can actually just shade that black and bang, instantly you got shading going on in your drawing. It's a little cheat right there. Left side of the nose above the nostril. This area you're talking about right there? His left. That area? That area. This thing, that big circle? In the actual line. Oh. Let me just see. That right here? Right where the mask is actually going over it? Oh, okay. No, that honestly, oh, you just want to know why I do that? I just want to make sure I got the question. Oh, no, don't worry about it. I mean, we're talking over chat. Honestly, the only reason I do it, it's a style choice. That's it. That's literally it. Some people use it, some people don't. I mean, this is the structure that you would have. So all I'm doing is I just kind of bring it in and, whoops. I just bring it in and just draw a little chunk. That's all it is. Just a style thing. So by default, that means don't do it. If you're learning, don't do it. That's bad, apparently. So just do what you like, but at least you asked, so now you know. Let me just get my line right there and clean her up. But yeah. Or it reminded you of a cheek. Okay. Okay, now we got it. Okay. Gotcha. Let me just scroll up there. Bendamage, did you end up posting a link or no? G.I. Joe. Okay, I don't think I saw the link. Maybe you're looking for it. I don't want to rush you there. All right, let's get some shadows going underneath the nose. Okay, actually here, I'm writing a note down here. Alec, I don't know if you're still in the chat. Let me just double check here. See my big sexy friend. There he is. Okay, just writing a note. Zelda, did you take my pen? Okay, I don't know where it went. Okay, so just gonna write a note, Alec. When the show's done here, I'm just gonna send you a message over Facebook. Okay. Message, Alec. It's been too long, so I know. I think you sent. I apologize. You sent me a message over Facebook, and I didn't get back to you. I've just been so busy. I didn't mean to leave you hanging or anything like that. But yeah, okay, so it looks like we're about the halfway point. So we're halfway in. What am I talking about? It's been a half hour. Wow. So again, just to recap, because there's a whole bunch more people in the room. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. If you guys would ever like anything covered or talked about in the show, but you can't make the stream, maybe you're watching the recorded version or you're here from YouTube, by all means, just send me a message over Facebook or YouTube or anything like that. And if I can, I'll try to address it on the show. But if you are in the chat room and you don't have an account, you can make one if you like. And all you got to do is just, this show's for you guys. So if you guys have any questions or anything like that, by all means, throw it in there. I can try my best to address it. No questions bad, as long as it has something to do with art, I guess. And like I usually say, if you've got a question, there's a high chance somebody else has got a very similar question or the exact same question. So don't be shy. And if I can help you out, I'll do the best I can. Let's get this face going here. Post on the Facebook. Okay, did you here? Let me just do this. I think I can. In case I don't know if you're shy or something, that's cool. I think I can send you a message. Maybe not. Cool. Thought you could do private messaging or anything like that. But good night, John. Thanks for stopping by, man. When you wake up, you'll have this in your inbox. So I know you've seen a bunch of it already. No, just feel free to post it in here. If it doesn't work, that's something else. But it's all good. I'll just draw right over top of it. Maybe we can get you going there. Okay. So zoom out here, just see how it's looking. Make sure it's not getting lost in the shadows. That's looking good. Looking good. When I first went to New York Comic Con in 2011, this is John Lee saying, I spent the first 2 days just sitting behind the desk looking desperately at passing fans, and it was hopeless. I turned it around by standing in front of the table and grabbing people as they walked past. Be in their face, be excited about this awesome book you have. Who cares if you look dumb? Odds are you won't see them again. And I can attest to that firsthand. I saw John doing that, molesting people as they walked by. Ask if they've read the standard, and if not, come over here and he'll also give you a nice little touch. A nice little gentleman's touch. I guess penis is censored. I don't know why penis would be censored. Have you ever given any thought to something like advertising on the Pirate Bay? I don't know. I mean, advertising's expensive as hell. I don't make any. Well, I make money on YouTube, but I'll be honest with you guys. I make maybe $100 every month, maybe $150 every 6 weeks, around there, which is awesome. If I'm making anything off anything, that's awesome, yeah. But it's definitely not enough money to put into advertising, that's for sure. Ideally, what I want to get... excuse me, I'm sorry. Hey, John. I'll upload the file. Well, that's the thing. I need files to upload, right? So, I mean, I guess I could just upload like these files and stuff, but I don't really know who... You know, I'm not paying for anything, so I don't know why people would... Anyway, but whatever. What I want to get going this year, at least within the next few months... you know, kind of going back to what I talked with you guys about a little while ago about that getting things done method where, you know, making projects and making small goals towards it, is getting these paid content tutorial videos online for you guys. And I have had a few people email me, which I thought was actually pretty interesting, that people get so heated about this. But whenever, I guess I'd say like I'm offering content that you have to pay for, all of a sudden... some heat came out. Like, I was getting some pretty good emails, and usually I don't respond to trolls and stuff like that. Like, that's not the point, right? I'll never stop doing this stuff. But like the paid stuff is things that I can't really talk about on a YouTube video. I could talk about on a stream, but you know, I'm trying to leave this for you guys and all that stuff. So, you know, this paid content stuff would be, you know, specific stuff like how to draw a comic. And I don't mean just how to draw a comic. It would be specific. So like penciling comics, inking in Manga Studio, you know, stuff that you would probably spend, I'm going to guess, I'll tell you straight up right now, I'm looking at anywhere between probably 10 to 20 bucks tops. Maybe, not maybe, but I'll definitely be doing this. Let's say it's 20 bucks for how to ink in Manga Studio, and I provide you with like some, I don't know, whatever to do an ink test over. That's cool. But then what I'm probably going to do as well is, this part, I don't know about the pricing, maybe 30 or 40, double it the price or something. But you get the exact same file, but then you get like some added bonus to it, which might be, you know, email conversation between you and I where we could schedule a time where we could both meet online over Skype or something like that, and I could critique your stuff or draw over it, or spend like an hour with you, something like that. And the trick there is, and this is where it could get real crazy. I mean, if this were to blow up or explode, which would be great. I'm not having any of those aspirations of that, but let's say 100 people all of a sudden bought that one. They want the $40 one where I can sit down with them for an hour and talk about their stuff. That's going to be a little bit crazy to try to figure out, because if you just say one of you guys bought it today and I was like, hey, thank you so much, I appreciate the support. However, that sit down conversation for an hour, you're in a backlog right now and we can talk in 6 months. That's probably going to piss some people off. So I'll have to figure it out. But anyway, so making goals towards that stuff with this getting things done stuff is, it's not just make the video. That's the easy part. Making the content's the easy part. It's how the hell can I put it online and stuff. So that's where getting things done, where that method of working your projects, I don't know, to me gets me pretty excited and turned on about that stuff, where it's, you break it down into the middle things, like I have research to do. I got to find out, how do I do this, So that would be a step. Spend, I don't know, an hour doing research, and then what happens once I pull away from that research? Do I still need more research? Then you schedule in time. Then once I find it, maybe it's like, maybe I have to move some money around so that I can invest in like a hosting service or something, right? So all that stuff. And anyway, people get mad and all those stuff like that. I don't know. People get mad over anything, right? If you ask them for anything, sometimes people get pretty upset. So, I just want to go back to what you guys saying. Oh no, I have heard of things like that where you upload, like for the standard, let's say the entire issue one, we upload it up to the Pirate Bay and ISO Hunt and all these big torrent sites, and put like a little README file with it saying like, we are the creators, we put it up there for you guys to enjoy. If you did enjoy it, please maybe a link to like a PayPal tip jar or something like that. And majority of people won't, but if it's getting more eyes on your stuff, right? So it's all that stuff like that. Yeah, it depends. There's a lot of thought that goes into this, and to be honest, what I would like to do with all these videos and tutorials and comics and stuff, it's full-time stuff, man. And I have a full-time job, and I'm busy and stuff, right? We're all busy, and we all want stuff to happen, and we all have our own personal projects. And the thing is, like, I still haven't even really talked about the new Jessup King comic that's coming out soon. I'll be drawing that with you guys. Heather Breckel did an awesome job on the colors. I'm sure you guys have seen that on my Facebook. Squirrel God's got to come out this year, and that's still getting kind of like, I don't know. And then there's another comic that some of you guys probably don't know about. I talked about it last year, but it's been in hiatus a little bit, but I'm going to jump back on that. Drudge. Don't know if you guys have seen that. So I've got tons of stuff to do, but it's like, I can't have it all. Lean into art guys for the vids. I have. I have talked to Jersey and Rob. Initially, I was going to do some videos with them, and I may still do content with them. The only thing that the big downer that I have for that is if I go with them, it's like another link that goes to somebody else as opposed to staying with me. And if that's the only way I can get my fans and my people that are interested in what I'm saying with this stuff to buy the videos is go through like Lean into Art, that's cool. But I would at least like to try on my own first, and I'm not saying I'm relying on people's bad or something like that. I'm just saying I would like to try it on my own, see what happens, right? And Bendham Age, did you post it? Sweet. Let me just click on that in a second. Yeah, we all got to make a buck somehow. Yeah, I don't think there's enough Manga Studio tutorials. Well, there is, but like, I don't know. Actually, if you ask me, there's not enough digital comics, like, and I'm not saying this in a conceited way, how I draw or how a lot of other people draw, how we're similar with this heavy inking rendering style. There's not a lot of videos online for that stuff. Let me just see, we're going there. Oh, I need to update my site terribly. What I have up there was something I did over, I think, a Friday night, just so that I had a place to put stuff. And again, it all rolls into that, don't have the time. And if it's getting into the point where it's like I have to pay somebody, I think, to get this, to do what I need it to do, which I don't know. Maybe that's what this is getting to. I'm gonna have to start moving money around to have things move by paying people to get this stuff done. So the other comic was it Godslayer? Yeah, that's another book. Godslayer. I know my friend Alec. I don't know if he's still in the room or not, but those guys love that. The concept behind that I didn't really talk too much about, but a lot of just the title and the stuff, Godslayer, is pretty cool, you know. And one day, hopefully, we'll get to that. But enough of me. Let's see if we can help out Bendamage here. Okay, I don't know what the hell this is. Okay, so I'm just going to post Bendamage's image here so we can all see what he drew. Here you go. I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so before I get into this Bendamage, if you wouldn't mind you want to know about rendering. I'm just going to make this blue. Change layer type. Da, 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 da. Godslayer sounds like an awesome metal band. Come on. Okay, so hopefully you guys can still see this. So what Bendamage is asking is if I can help him out with rendering techniques and what's going on. So real quick, I'm just going to give quick rundowns. I don't mean to be offensive or anything like that. Just going to give those little caveats before I get in there. But okay, so you got some cool foreshortening going on. Looks like you got a clean style. You're trying to throw in some rendering lines and stuff to help. What if I had to guess? It looks like you don't know why you're rendering, and I'll give you a quick little reason why, or show you why, or how to think about it. But remember, when you're drawing in style and stuff, like you asked with the I got asked with that triangle node and stuff. There's a lot of things that you can just chalk up to style, right? A lot of people will just see it and be like, "That looks sick," you know. And ideally, personally, if you're doing comics, you want to get your art looking as sick as possible. You want people going like, "Oh man, that looks awesome." Not really going like, "Well, his biceps messed up." You know, personally, I don't know. That's just my style for comics and stuff. But anyway, so when rendering, think of it like this. Okay, so I'm just going to do a circle and a box, and we're getting into boring time. Okay, so here you go. Now the whole reason you do rendering is because you can't shade in gray. Okay, and I know a lot of you guys have already heard me talk about this stuff. That's okay. So what we're going to do is we're just going to specify where our shadows or our dark blacks would be, okay? So there it is on there, there it is on there. Clearly we got a light source coming up from here, okay? So rendering, the way it would work is all of this would be like gray, okay? So what you would do with rendering is you've got choices. Render lines, they're following the plane, okay, of the shape. So in this case, that's pretty rectangular, but it's straight, right? So that means you could render like this, or you could render like this. You're basically rendering on the face of the plane, okay? And you can kind of mix it up as well. So don't ever feel like you're locked into anything. So if this was all gray, this whole side should be rendered, right? But you don't always have to do that. You could always just do things like, you know, like build it up. So the closer it gets towards the shadow, the lines start to get a little thicker and a little heavier. So they're getting a little longer here as well. And eventually we're going to cover the whole shape. I got a little messy here, so I'm just going to clean that up. And another thing you can do is also start from the top as well. That's a cool little rendering trick. And eventually these parts will meet up. Okay. So the other thing you can do is also throw in the same rendering that we had before. Getting closer to light, so we go shorter, and then the further away we get a little darker. So I mean, that's one way. That's a really brutal box. But the same thing works here with the round shape. It's round. The shapes, if you think of this like a globe, let me just kind of break these shapes in for you here so you can see what's going on. And you guys have probably done this, like if you ever looked at Loomis or anything like that. And I'm just trying to be real quick with it, quick and dirty here. But all these lines that I'm throwing on here, are like your grid lines to the shape, right? And all you're doing is you're just redrawing those grid shapes with rendering. That's it. Okay? So again, the furthest away it gets longer, and then the closer we start getting towards the light source, just lighten it up. And you probably do it on the other side. And if you want, you could, again, do like another stacked layer of rendering there. And what I'll do is I'll throw in a little things like this. Like I might just put a little debris in there like that. Maybe even render digital. I can do this with whiteout and stuff if you're doing traditional stuff. I don't know. Just throw some debris in there just to break it up like that. Now to answer your question, okay, the sharp lines are what you're having trouble with, because I'm going to address what you're doing here real quick. Digital, I can change the width of the drawing, right? Or my brush settings. So the lighter I press, it's literally like, look at that. That's so thin. And the heavier I press, like that gets thick as hell. So when I would normally do penciling, I would start with the fat end like this and kind of looking like hair. Like that. But digital, I go the other way. I go light to dark, light to dark, light to dark, light to dark, like that. And they look radically different, right? This one here looks way smoother than the other one. This one looks rough as hell. But this is the only way I can really render with pencils that I feel comfortable doing. Now, if you wanted to do something different like that, what you could do is you just kind of draw the line of the rendering, okay? And then you just kind of draw over the bottom. Just kind of like these little like round shapes. And you kind of like blend it in just way like, you know what I'm saying? You just kind of draw it in there like that. So that's some things. What you're going to notice right away is these are pretty easy types of rendering. Once you start getting something like rendered like this direction, like real rounded shapes, it'll get crazy town. I'll tell you that right now, okay? But to address your question here, so I just want to show you guys the basics there, okay? So right away, what popped out right away was the hand. So I'm just going to re-ink over it here, just so that I can ink over top of it. And I'm going to try to stay as true to your lines that you already established here. I'm not trying to put any of my own style into it or whatever. You had some of these lines in there like that. Okay, so you have the rendering going on already. The only problem is the light source. So your rendering is on this side, which means your light is coming from here, right? But then you have like this rendering going on here. This would be good. That's wrong. If we're going there, that's right. That's right. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. Okay, so all you would do, let me just clear this out. So we'll establish that your light is coming from here, the top left, okay? So let's take this hand, for example. I'm just going to draw over it here. Just clean this up. The only reason I'm saying this is wrong is because you have the shading in the wrong spot there, okay? So these are all cylinders, yeah? You know, they're all basically, you know, you don't always have to draw like this, but you're just thinking this. That's the whole trick, is just trying to get your mind to think like this. Don't draw like this, think like this. Okay, so once you have your hand in there, your ink, your shadow. Again, this is the other thing too, right? Like it's how chunky and rendering and like shadow heavy you want to go. So if you were to put the shadow on this, it would probably be something a little bit more like that. The further these fingers get away, the more shadow there'll be. And you're going to have some shadow kind of going there. What I'm doing here is I'm just putting the outline of the shadow, okay? Let me just turn this layer underneath off. So what we have here is just let me fill it in black so you guys can see it a little bit better. Okay. So that's how the shadow should roughly be, like that, okay? Just make that black. And let's get rid of all this in here. So I mean, it's kind of dirty. It's kind of dirty, right? But remember this shape here that I have underneath those cylinders. That's where the rendering is going. Okay, so again, just where that light source is going. And what's really cool is you have the shapes already here for the fingers. So if you want, I mean, we're not going to render them all because it'll look a little weird, but. Anyway, so we'll look at it in a second. But even here, like, the flesh is going this way. So you're rendering, you can kind of feel it pull, you know? Like, you kind of got some lines going here. The fingers are stretching out. You got this really cool foreshortened thumb up in the front. Did a really good job on that. And what's really cool too is you can also render in where the lines are in the flesh, right? Like you don't have to have a solid line all the time. Let me just turn that back on there. So there you go. I mean, it's rough. It's looking pretty tacky, but you know, the information's there. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know, it's helping you a little bit. And like even in his face, if you wanted to add a little bit of shading, real quick, like the way you have your lines here, you could get in a quick, just by doing that, just give him a little bit of a cheekbone. You could probably just put a little bit of shadow where his nose would be. And then you got some cool stuff underneath his chin here, so we could put some rendering on that. And then on this side of his face, you could kind of put that little divot that sometimes people get. Put a rendering on there. Right, so when you zoom out, I mean, the shading's still there, right? So it's really cool is you have your stuff's down there. You know, like everybody, I'll tell you this right now, guys. Everybody's line weights and line art, it's usually there. It's just, you know, introducing a little bit of shadow. Personally, when I started doing that, I was scared to hell. I've always said it. I've always talked about it like that. Terrified of adding shadow. I thought it would ruin everything. But especially today, you can, you know, quickly photocopy your stuff if you have that available to you and just kind of draw the shadow over that. But I would definitely grab a scrapbook or something like that, or a little sketchbook that you don't care about, and just start throwing in heavy blacks on your art. Look at Mike Mignola, look at Hellboy, and it's really going to start adding stuff to your work, just in terms of thinking about like rendering and stuff like that as well. Okay, like we got his shirt, you know, but you normally wouldn't. By default, you might go, okay, so the light's coming from the top, so we're just going to put like the light coming down like that. That's generally right, but it's got to wrap around the form. Okay? I was going to wrap around there. All this is heavy, which you did. Awesome. Good job. Glad you noticed that one too. It's good stuff. Okay, so here's a good example of like the shirt. It's being pulled, right? It's all being pulled. So instead of drawing lines, you stop there, which is awesome. You could just render those lines where it's being pulled. You don't have to go all the way there. And here, what you did, you kind of got it right. You just went too thick with it, which is kind of going back on what you said earlier. Also, you know what I mean? Like it's just you don't know the rendering. So what you're doing is you're going like straight across, which is fine. But his thigh is doing this. He's got this action going on. Let me just zoom out so I can see the perspective you got here. Actually, where do you got his? His thigh is actually should be going like this. According to the perspective you drew anyway, like that, okay? So the rendering up here is wrong. Down here, it's getting there. So knowing it's like that, the rendering you put over top of it, right? And I used to do this stuff too, and I still kind of do it, where I'll draw like these grid shapes like this over form, and just kind of in a different color, and then go over it, and then add the rendering. I don't know. It just adds a little something to it. Makes it a little bit easier for my brain to comprehend it. I think most people will, because it's sort of like tracing, you know? Let me just zoom out, turn that off there, just so you can see it. Let me just clean this up here. See, so if you wanted to, I mean, you could still kind of Okay, why can't I? My mouse is screwing up. What's going on here? There we go. So you can kind of bring these lines in like this too, just to wrap it around. Okay, so I apologize. I haven't even really been reading the chat while I've been doing this. I've just been kind of getting locked into it. Did this help you at all, Benamage? If not, I apologize. How's it going, Daisy? It did? Okay, sweet. So it's been the hour. It's time to wrap the show up. I think I did notice. I'm just going to scroll up after the show here and just read what somebody else they asked. I think they had a question. Then I think I'll look at it after the show. But thank you guys and girls so much for stopping by. Appreciate it so much. For everybody that shared, liked the video on YouTube, Facebook, if you shared it around, phenomenal stuff. Like I said at the top, stay tuned because I'm going to start to introduce a little bit more for the show. Start to do this in kind of like a TV show and like with seasons and stuff like that. I know it sounds tacky and all that fun stuff. But again, for now, it's every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you're in the chat right now and maybe you missed it, look at the time so you guys can see what it is right now. Subtract an hour from it, and that's where we'll start. So see you next Thursday, you guys. Oh man, it's been a while. Keep reading comics, keep making comics, and we'll talk to you soon.